All right, guys, you know what time it is. We're going into some of my archive saved posts from the last week. See what we can learn about swimming, what we can learn that swimming isn't doing, and, deliver some commentary on it. So let's get into it.
So I wanted to do a breakdown on Alex Pereira doing a single leg jumping drill over some cones and kind of give a little bit of my take and talk about some of the pros and cons and how he's going about this modality. Now, some of the pros is this is a good.
Okay, so as you look at this, guys, I want y'all to see this is obviously a world-class athlete, right? And how uncoordinated he is, okay? When you're doing your dryland programming, yeah, you have your set things that you want to do, but you also want to find out, and maybe even more importantly, in my opinion, the weaknesses, what your athletes struggle with. You would never guess that a world-class athlete looks like this doing single leg hops. He's not even getting his foot up that high. He's about to fall over every time. He's completely off balance. And the reason why finding these terrible motor skill motions are so important is they're either going to be primary, probably supplementary motions in your athlete's swimming, right? So you find these huge weaknesses, that means that there is a huge opportunity for growth there, right? And if they can just go from terrible to acceptable, you're going to see some major gains, right? And then they go from that to competent, and, that to elite, there's not really much gain to be made in that, that fine tuning of their form. But in that, going from terrible to acceptable and acceptable to good with it, huge opportunity. So as much as your programming should be suited around what you need so in my case, it would be play, right? So my program is, especially for the 10 and unders, is designed around movements and things in the muscle groups that they're going to be engaging when they're just playing outside. So even though I may have the things I need them to have that translate from play to swimming, I'm going to have some exercises in there that are designed to make them struggle, okay? Purely because if they can get this down, it's going to help them with their swimming, and that's probably where we're going to see our biggest gains, right? It's because those supplementary motions connect your primaries, right? So, you have huge gain from primaries, huge gain from another primary, but then as that connection comes in, the two primaries feed off each other, and you start seeing some huge, huge benefits. Okay, that's one on. Okay, so this is one that's kind of cool, right? So 07, I remember watching this game. This is when Tebow was still there. And so Georgia scores, I think, the first touchdown of the game, right? And the coach, Mark Wright, had instructed the entire team to storm the field, right? Florida wasn't ready for this. And they just turn up, and there's trying, because it's a penalty, right? To go out there like that. And they just basically took the penalty, and you can see Georgia players getting turned up. And you can see the Florida people what just happened. And, Georgia ends up winning this game, but, it's a little bit of shock and all, but you can tell by Florida's reaction, game's over, right? As a competitor, when you see, so as an athlete, right? Athlete to athlete, when you see something like this go down, you can't be frozen. Right, so if I'm if I'm Tebow on the other sideline, the moment I see the other team go down, I grab my guys. It ain't no explanation. It's let's go, and we're running out there, and we might even escalate it to a fight, right? Because it's about making a statement. It's about imposing your will on somebody, and you see Tebow's face right there. He probably knows shit, we just lost this game, right? Because the energy is on their side. They impose their will on Florida, and Florida's just, what do we do? Right. And even more so, the thing I really want y'all to take from this is, what's your swim culture like? I remember my first stop, we did celebration finishes, right? So you finish, you look up, see a good time. Let me see his celly. Let me see what it looks like. Chest bumps, high fives, secret handshakes, all the stuff that you would see in other sports we were doing. And I think that's a very important piece to recognize about the swimming sports experience is that you get in sports for these camaraderie things. And swimming, like I said, I don't think it's an individual sport, but it is technically. You're not going to have those things. So you have to curate them as a coach. And like that's a part of the sporting experience. Like imagine like you want to do sports and get that camaraderie experience, right? And know how to be a part of a team and celebrate and feel people uplift you for you do when you do something good like this, right? Like they went out there, it's like, yeah, great job offense. Like we turned it up now, let's go. And you were like, okay, well, we can't do basketball. It's not good enough for basketball. It's not good enough for track and field. It's not good enough for football. Oh, we can do swimming. And then it's like none of that stuff is there. Like what's going on? So I think it's an important part because it gives the kids kind of especially if they're the only team on deck doing that high five, chest bumps, the back tap thing where they jump in the air. It makes them feel special. And I think that special feeling is a huge part of sports, right? Like a feeling that you're better than others. It's a huge part of sports development, development as a confident person who's going to go out to achieve great things. So, curate some stuff that's unique to you. Like make your sport a sport. Okay, so I had a post up last week on what's his name? Todd, the UVA coach, right? And I was talking about how like it looks like he was trying to convince the players, right, to like turn up and have a good time or not have a good time, but like turn up like, hey, like it's go time, like let's go. And I feel like a lot of times when college coaches, swim coaches specifically, do that, like I feel like this is what they see themselves as, right? So let's get into this video.
Read the Bible. They don't tell you this in church. Read the Bible. When David killed Goliath, he got Goliath's sword, he cut his head off, he grabbed his head, and he went to the Philistines. You saw what? You saw me? You saw what? I got a head in my hand. Then the Bible says he walked around with his head in his hand. He walked around flexing. I got y'all king head in my hand. Guts, blood, pus, dripping. Walk around. He had a dog in it. He was a nice young man. He had a dog in it. You had a dog in you? You should hit a switch. When you cross that line, strap that thing up. When you get in those stairs, it should be murder on your mind. Some of y'all too nice. Y'all like to read scriptures. Y'all stands. How you doing, buddy? We have SC on Thursdays. How you doing, buddy? Good, nice cleats, buddy. Good to meet you, buddy. I'm John.
FCA on Thursdays. For y'all, those of y'all who don't know, that's Fellowship of Christian Athletes. That was kind of funny. But I feel like that's what coaches think, like when they're giving these speeches, some coaches, like that's what they think they're being received as. And no, like I've had talks like that before from coaches, and you're like half scared when it's because they're like yelling, like, and like you saw how graphic that was. You talk about murder on your mind, like it's pure aggression, right? And if you're playing, I want you to think about this. If you're playing football, you're about to go hit somebody, right? Like you have to inflicting pain on somebody. So your pregame hype speech has to be able to penetrate that threshold, right? But yeah, man, I remember, I think like probably the first one I heard, it was either the first one or like the most, either way, it doesn't matter. Like I remember one specifically where like I was like half scared going into I've never heard somebody talk like this before, but and this kind of even goes to the last comments I made about like sports participation. Like you gotta make the environment you want to have, right? You see yourself doing something like this, like do it. Like it's sports. It's sports at the end of the day. And I always say this, like people will forgive you for being too aggressive. They'll never forgive you for being too soft in sports, right? So err on the side of confidence, aggression. Like when you get in the real world, I'll tell you this, right? One of the first lessons I learned in the real world was everybody's short. They're not a bunch of 6'6" people running around. That's how tall our average height was on our UT swim team. And the second one is people will backstab you, right? Even the people who you think are close to you will backstab you. So they have a level of aggression that they grew up with or were socialized in, not doing swimming, not doing sports where in sports we believe my success is your success, right? If I fail and you succeed, I succeed, even though I failed. Right? I may choose to fail just so you can succeed because you have a better chance to succeed, and that's how I win. It ain't like that. You know, in the real world, if they fail and you succeed, you're a threat and they're going to undermine you. And I think that's an important, like, having that aggression to where, one, they're either afraid to undermine you or that you're capable to flip that switch, like he said, and get after somebody who you recognize as a threat to yourself or as an enemy is an important thing to have. And like, you know, a lot of times you just see these speeches and it's just a hyped up speech, and it's way more than that. It's teaching these kids how to like that fear that I talked about. I felt the first time I ever got a speech like this. It's like recognizing that and flipping the switch into violence, basically. But being able to recognize that switch and turn it on. Next video. We're on one more. This is going a lot smoother this time. Okay, this is a good one. All right, so this is King Von recording one of his first songs. Or one of his first hits.
She live by the park, it's getting dark. My Glock on my lap, I'm just thick as Mark, so she hop out. She switching this shit, this bitch thick as shit. She got 2 minutes, if she ain't back out, then she gon' need a minute. She left her phone, so I picked it up. This hoe slow as fuck, slam his calls. 3 up for mom, the other 6 they duck.
Right? So, look, he's in, like, you see people in, like, they'll need these recording studios, all this extravagant stuff, and he's in his kitchen cooking up a banger, like an iconic song like King Von, you know about, took her to the O, right? So the point I'm making is, like, if you're not getting the results you want, join Rakeley Technique Solutions. There we give you the technique you need to develop the performance skills you need to actually achieve your goals, right? Direct one-to-one. You need to swim faster. I know I'm doing this technique bad. Here's how you do it to actually perform as a faster athlete. So join the Rakeley Technique Solutions, link below. But like, are you turning your limitation? Are you making your limitations work? Right? Like my first coaching stop, we had 6 lanes, 15 kids a lane in our developmental part, which, is the lifeblood of your team, your 10 and unders. And then on the deck, we probably had 350 square feet for our dry land programming. And, when I got there, between the time I got there and I left, about 5 years, we broke like 89% of the first place and runner up, so second place team records. Second place. So there's no excuse, right? And those team records were times basically like, this is the team that me and my brother grew up on. And, the girls we were swimming with were also very fast. So these are all like quad A times. And that were still there from a decade earlier. And we're finally breaking them. And, the next year, a new swimmer comes on and breaks the old swimmers, or the new old swimmers, the old new swimmers record. So, like, you have your limitations. Now what? How are you going to make it work? You have your limitations. You don't have a recording studio. Now what? Like, imagine if you, like, think about this, right? If King Von had this song, right? And let's just say the song made him $1 billion, right? Are you guaranteed? You're guaranteed $1 billion. Are you going to let not having a studio keep you from making that billion? You can record it however you can record it however you want to get the billion. It's promised. It's foretold, right? But in your head, you're like, no, I need all these things to do it. And it's like, no, like, it's a guarantee. Like, you're going to get it. Just put the song out. It doesn't matter. Like, we didn't say any of that other stuff that you need to be doing X, Y, Z. We said, put the song out and we'll give you $1 billion. Right. So I think it's an important thing to realize that a lot of times our perceived setbacks or limitations are self-imposed, or the belief in them being effective is self-imposed, and you just need to do it. Right? I know personally, me, like, when I have like a failure, especially like a catastrophic one, I get kind of excited because it's basically, I believe in God, the big homie in the sky. I think he's like, okay, I'm going to see how you behave. Right? Like, okay, I'm going to give you this terrible setback. What are you going to do? You going to quit? Or are you going to keep grinding and while you deal with this setback and basically have, let's just say money, right? You have no income for 6 months. But I guarantee you, however long it takes, if you keep going, you will get that $1 billion. Right? And the problem is people don't believe in themselves. Like if I said guaranteed billion, you believe it, right? You don't believe in yourself to guarantee your own billion. It's just time. So that's our episode for today, guys. Make sure that you comment below. Let us know what you think about that. Is our limitations, the belief in the effectiveness of limitations, self-imposed limitations? What do you think about that? What do you think about giving up hyped up speeches? When your coach gives them there, you're like, man, was that it? Can you give us something a little bit more? Or do you think that the normal swim speech about, hey, let's swim fast is good enough? I think it's important we talk about these things because we're trying to make the sport better, more fun, and as it becomes like actual more fun, not whatever. USA Swimming says it's fun, so it's fun. I think, we do these things, it gets more eyeballs, it gets people engaged in the sport, and then that's where the money comes, and then everybody who's at the top of the sport can stop crying about not making income. So let me know what you think about these things, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notification bells so you can know whenever we drop a new video, and leave a comment, leave a like. It helps us in the algorithm. The more people that we can get in front of, the more people we can get technique solutions in their hand, and the more people can benefit from having the answers to their questions that, one, they have, and two, the ones they don't even know they have that they need to benefit from. So once again, thank you for tuning in, guys. Peace.